Felder Rushing, and we are live from the moors of Lancashire, England, northwestern England, kind of near Liverpool in the Lake District. I'm not here to talk about that. Just want to let you know why I'm on Zoom instead of in the studio with you, Java. How you doing, man?
Well, like most Mississippians, hot. It's a little warm out here, and we've been getting wet pretty much every day. But it's other than that, everything's peachy, man.
Well, we were talking before we got on the air, Java. You said there's something weird happening, a little bit of rain and stuff, but you're hearing thunder and there's no storms nearby.
Yeah, it's been
So
happening a couple of days now, and used to the rain, but no, it will be thunder, but no rain.
I'm curious about that because I've always heard of heat lightning. Anybody raised in the South knows that sometimes, you can see lightning or you can hear stuff from thunderstorms that may be miles and miles and miles away. But we always call it heat lightning because there's no storms anywhere. And then thunder too. Anyway, I don't know what causes that, but it might be there's a thunderstorm over in Louisiana and just bouncing off all those satellites and space junk or something. Who knows?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to be talking about gardening. If anybody has any calls or want to give us a call, it's toll free 1-877 MPB Ring. Glad to yak with you about anything that's going on in your garden. And I know there's a lot going on, Java, because as you know, I'm the administrator. I'm one of the administrators for the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page. We've got a little over 62,000 members, mostly in Mississippi, some in Louisiana and Alabama, a little bit of Tennessee and Arkansas. But it's mostly right in our part of the country. And I'm keeping track of what's going on. There's a lot of people concerned about a whole bunch of stuff to the point where I might next week start with a top 5 things people are concerned about this week, this coming week. So anyway, I just want to throw that out that it's a whole bunch of stuff going on that not much I can do about it because I'm a long ways off.
Well, I do know just yesterday on Creature Comforts, they were talking about pollinators, and what really sparked my recollection was this morning on the YouTube. You can, if you're not listening to us, you can watch us anytime on YouTube. Just type in the Gestalt Gardener or Mississippi Public Broadcasting. And Kendall on YouTube, he says, "Good morning. Just installed my first honeybee hive into my garden area." He said, "Wish me luck. Second bee rescue pending."
Second bee rescue pending. That's kind of interesting. As a matter of fact, there's been a controversy on Facebook recently. Last week or a couple of weeks or so, the Clear and Leisure had an article about killer bees in Mississippi. I don't know if you saw that. Or, did they talk about that at all yesterday on Creature Comfort?
I can't remember if they talked about it on Creature Comforts, but I do remember hearing a story from one of the news outlets about, yes, Mississippi has these killer bees now.
Well, and somebody sent me a picture. As a matter of fact, they posted on Facebook, and we had to take it down because it's not true. As a matter of fact, Dr. Jeff Wilson, they may have him on sometime. He's an insect specialist, the entomologist with the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Yeah, he's been on before.
Yeah, he works with all the beekeepers and he's on top of insects and bees and all like that. And he came out with a special thing just this past week. And I got a quote from him. He said, "We have intercepted just 3 colonies in the state this century, a couple in 2008, one in 2014, all of which were discovered near the ports of entry and all were destroyed." This has been over 10 years since it's been a reported case. And he would know about it because he works with all the beekeepers. Anyway, here's what he said. "You should be careful around any bees or wasps because it can all sting and cause serious problems with some people. But when it comes to having killer bees, the so-called Africanized honeybees in Mississippi," and this is quoting Dr. Jeff Wilson, "it simply ain't true." So there.
Well, now we know.
Well, I know this guy, and the Extension Service, they're real serious about stuff like that. If there were any colonies of killer bees, the Africanized honeybees, that are extra aggressive, if there are any of them in Mississippi, we would know about it. And there simply hasn't been in over 10 years. So, there's a lot of sensationalized stuff that comes on. Matter of fact, he wrote a letter to the Clare Ledger asking them to detract the story, but I don't read the papers. I don't know.
And
So
like
anyway,
most and like most things, it will be on like the back page.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the same time, though, we have all sorts of bees, uh, including great big giant killer wasps. We have honey bees. We have bumblebees, carpenter bees, all sorts of pollinator bees. But the ones and the big red wasps, those angry big red wasps. And a lot of people don't realize that these insects are very beneficial. They eat spiders, they eat bugs, they eat caterpillars, they eat all sorts of stuff, and they're eaten by things. At the same time, we don't want to have a wasp nest right by the screen door. That just doesn't make sense. So sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But in general, if you ignore them, most of the time they'll ignore you. Here's a tip though. Right before I left a couple of weeks ago to come over here to England, last thing I did was I pruned some shrubs back pretty hard, so they'll be nice and full. I also pruned my chrysanthemums back. I pruned my goldenrod back, my asters, the fall blooming stuff. I cut them way back so that over the next month or so, they're going to bush out, have more stems, more compact, less floppy, and more flowers. But every time I prune one, I touched it with a stick from a distance to make sure there wasn't a wasp nest in it, because that is something they don't tell you about. There's a type of wasp called guinea wasps. They look like red wasps, but they're smaller and they kind of not yellow and dark, sort of a light brown and a dark brown. Uh, and they make nests in grasses, in shrubs, sometimes on the bottom of elephant ears. Anyway, they're little nests, but those things will eat you up. Excuse me, they have eaten me up. I had one that landed on my nose job and stung me inside my nose.
What? Only Felder. Only Felder.
I'm sure it's not only me, but and one got me on the back of my arm, a little tender bit right that back there when if Crystal's mad at you, she ever pinch you right back there.
We're not going to talk about that, Felder.
Okay, I'm just saying that it's worse than being pinched by your sweetheart.
That is
But
true.
anyway, if you're doing pruning right now, take a stick and sort of, jab at shrubs, give them a little bit of shake first, make sure there's not a little small wasp nest in there. But no worry about the Africanized or the so-called killer bees. We just don't have it here. So there.
Felder,
My
we got a
little
phone.
rant.
We got a phone call. Let's see. Go to Canton and
Let's do it.
talk with Ron.
Hey, Ron, thanks for calling. What's up, man?
Oh, not too much. I'm gonna decide whether to prune back the Confederate rose to get the blooms of the. It's already bloomed, but am I supposed to clip that off?
The orange blooms on the what? I didn't catch the plant.
No, the Confederate rose.
Oh yeah. Well, they usually don't bloom till fall, but because we had such weird winter weather, a lot of plants got confused when we're blooming in the spring or the early summer that normally bloom till fall. Um, His main show is going to be in the fall. So, if you want to just enjoy it, it's not that big a deal. But as soon as it gets through, you can cut those plants back sometime in July, anytime in July. And they have time for new growth to come out and mature, set plenty of flower buds this fall. Usually they set flower buds when the days start getting shorter in September, start blooming in October. So,
Okay, I appreciate it.
okay, nothing to it. Appreciate that. Java, I wanted to throw something else out. Anybody's out watering their plants right now, a couple of real quick tips, real important tips. I don't care if it's your vegetables, your potted plants, your tomatoes in buckets, your lawn, whatever. Don't water all the time. I'm seeing people saying they got to water every day or twice a day. Well, there's something wrong there because a lot of people go maybe twice a week they water. I don't water my potted plants more than a couple of times a week, even when I'm there in the summertime. The trick is to water 2 times, whether it's your lawn or potted plants. Water twice. The first one sort of makes the soil swell up a little bit, sort of like a sponge. It wets it, and then the second one really soaks in. So if you water twice, a couple of 30 minutes, hour or so apart, you'll probably go twice as long without having to water again. This is particularly true at the lawn right now, Java, because a lot of people are watering the grass. Sometimes they have irrigation systems. They don't realize those are water delivery systems. They're not artificial life support. There's plenty of lawns that look great without any water at all. They ought to get watered sometimes. But if you're watered more than once a week on the lawn, you're actually causing lawns problems. This is not my opinion. This is based on Mississippi State University turf management management 101. A good deep soaking once every week or two is far better than several light waterings during the week. So if you got a sprinkler system, set it where it comes on 2 or 3 times a week, but make them only an hour apart and then shut it off for the next week. You don't have to believe me. I'm just throwing out, just cause it's a fact doesn't mean you can explain it away. You
Well,
can't you can't amortize the cost of your irrigation system running it more. Use it to help the grass, not to make their neighbors think you're okay.
well, let me ask this question.
I'm gonna rant, Java.
No, I'm finna pause you because I want to ask about you. Because it's so hot, should you try to water at a certain time of day? I know Crystal, she's big about watering in the morning or watering at night, because if you water during the middle of the day, it's just the sun is just gonna soak it right back up, and it's not gonna be as effective.
It does evaporate. If you water in the middle of the day, it does evaporate pretty quick, and it can cause minor issues on the foliage of some plants because the water stays there and the sun can magnify it. It's relatively minor thing. The main reason for not watering late in the day is if plants stay wet, the longer they stay wet, the more likely fungi, diseases are going to form. And if you water late in the day, they don't dry out before dark. They can stay wet a long time and you're more likely to get diseases. So better to water in the morning or early enough in the evening so that the plants have time to dry before dark. But if you're just watering every few days or every week or so, it's not that big a deal. Really not that big a deal.
Okay.
So there.
Well, that you said it, and I can understand that, but it stays hot so long. I mean, you have to wait until you don't have to, you have to wait till midnight.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not that big a deal. I mean, thunderstorms don't, they don't decide when they're going to drop rain. So the main thing is just don't keep plants wet all the time. That's a real mistake. Anyway, for folks who are on the live is called Live View.
The live stream on YouTube.
Live stream. If you're not on live stream, keep in mind you can go on there any time of the day. You can go in there 2 in the morning if you just can't sleep. If you go to YouTube and in the search box put MPB or put Gestalt Gardener, you can see the pictures that we're about to post. And I want to start out with picture number 1. Who's our live stream producer today?
Oh, we got a special team today. We have Marissa and our intern, Francis.
Okay, Francis and Marissa. We're looking at picture number 1. I got them numbered. And this is a rainbow made with a garden hose. You can put your thumb over the end of a garden hose and do a real fine mist. And if you get the angle just right where the sun's coming over behind you, you can make a rainbow. This is something that you can show kids, which is kind of cool, but you can do just because it's fun. While you're running water over your feet from the hose, I'm assuming you're out there with flip-flops on just to keep cool. Make you a little rainbow. It's one of those little things that we're the only creatures on earth who deliberately do stuff like that. So let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, three other real pictures. A picture before we go on our break. Number 2 is I've been growing succulents. I grow a lot of cacti and succulents, both in Mississippi and in England, because I'm gone for weeks and weeks at a time. Nobody waters my plants. Anyway, this is just a little shot of part of my little succulent collection in England, where I grow sedums and sempervivums and hens and chicks and all. And sometimes they have cool little flowers like this one right here. They're just interesting little flowers. Sometimes they're red or pink or yellow, but I've got a lot of sedums that are blooming right now, and they'll grow for weeks and weeks and weeks without any water at all. Picture number 3 is the moors. I say I'm up in the moors of Lancashire, sort of like low rolling hills. And I just want to give people an idea of what low rolling moors look like. What you can't tell is those shrubs in the foreground are wild blueberries, because there's a lot of peat moss up here, a lot of real acidic conditions. And in addition to the blackberries and the raspberries, there's a lot of little wild blueberries. And then the last picture before we go to the break, picture number 4 is yesterday I found some wild cherries. Real cherry.
Did you eat the cherries, Felder? Did you eat the cherries?
Yeah. The ones we buy at the store are hybrid variety. They're bigger. But this is just a regular cherry. They taste like cherries. They got a pit in them, like you put it in your mouth, you chew it, you spit out the seed. But the reason I want to mention this because people say we can't grow cherries in Mississippi because it's not cold enough. Well, the truth is, England is not as cold as Mississippi. It just stays cooler longer, and that's the key for cherries, peonies, hibiscus. A whole bunch of plants that they grow in England, we can't grow in Mississippi. Lavender, because they like long, cool weather, which we don't have in Mississippi. So we have the same planting zone. People say I'm in zone 8 or zone 9 or zone 7. So does England, but they can grow cherries and Mississippi can't because it's a different kind of zone. Anyway, I just want to show that I'm eating good, Java. Walking around the hillside, eating good.
Now, speaking of eating good, I was gonna ask you: have you had your meat pie yet? I know it's a shop right close to you.
Well, it's exactly 1,010 steps each way. Yeah, I get a meeting. Fridays are my 3 Ps. I get a pie, I do a program, I go to the pub. So Friday's my 3P day.
Sound like good living, man. Good living.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. Everybody's got their routines, and this is just my routine over here. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit of stuff with folks, even though we're talking about gardening in the South. And if you want to give us a call, talk about your Mississippi garden or your Southern garden, give us a call. It's toll-free 1-877-MPB-RING. And we're going to take a real quick break and come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
Every parent wants their child to grow, to explore, and to dream big. At MPB, we're proud to support families and teachers across Mississippi with trusted educational programming and resources that inspire learning and spark imagination. From PBS Kids favorites to digital tools and early learning support, MPB is here for young minds, engaged classrooms, and families who believe in the power of learning at every age. Empowering families, inspiring learners. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission. The nation's longest-running traveling celebration of traditional arts, the National Folk Festival comes to downtown Jackson for the first time, November 7th through the 9th. A fun-filled weekend for the entire family, exploring roots, richness, and variety of American culture. Non-stop music and dance, folk life demonstrations, hands-on children's activities, signature Southern foods, crafts, and more showcasing the best of America, the best of Mississippi, all free. We'll see you in November. More at nationalfolkfestival.com.
Felder Rushing. I thought we were live a little while ago. I was just chatting and talking about stuff.
No, I just wish people could see the behind the scenes. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because I was just bragging. I thought we were live. I was bragging on the fact that I'm doing OJT, on the job training. You're keeping us all together, and I was talking about all this stuff. I was talking to everybody, and they weren't even there.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna have to get a behind the scenes cam to capture the behind the scenes, because that's the real magic.
Listen, before we go to our next caller, let me point out that the picture behind me, if you're on the live stream, you go to the live stream later on YouTube, this picture behind me, this garden, you might see stuff like roses, you might see lavender blooming, blue geraniums. That's because this is one of the gardens I take care of. It's my partner's mother's garden. She's 90 years old. She can't garden anymore, but she has a lovely garden, and I'm out there weeding and pulling and planting and snipping and stuff like that. So I'm still gardening, but I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't be doing in Mississippi. A little watering when you need it, a little pruning when you need it, a little fertilizer, thinning out, mulching, just the normal stuff. Doesn't matter where you are. Gardening is just trying to keep up with the challenges and stay ahead of the curve and try to plant stuff that makes sense. Now, let's go up to, is Chico in Oxford?
Oh, yeah. Chico is in Oxford.
Chico, how you doing?
Hey, good. I'm doing good, but Felder, I'm sorry you're in England. That means that you won't be with me in Java later today and tomorrow in southern Marshall County at the North Mississippi Hill Country Picnic. We're going to miss you.
Are you going to Java? You going to a picnic without me?
If Chico says I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah,
Does Crystal know you? Does Crystal and the redhead know what you guys are up to?
now you're talking. Now you're talking.
What's up, Chico? What's going on, man?
I've been wondering for a while now about the psyche, or the effect of the color of plants has on a person's psyche. I mean, for like example, my place in Lafayette County is kind of a Rube Goldberg place in that it's real verdant and green. But like I say, I've got these dogs down by the creek to keep anybody from stealing my creek, these guard dogs. And I got a tube running down there to where I can feed them from the house. And I painted that tube forest green because it blends in real well. And that's something like today at the picnic, it's going to be covered with green all around, kudzu and pine trees and oak trees. And I feel like, everybody at the picnic always feels so good. That's partially because of the music and the soul food. But I always figured that just being amongst nature like that is good for the psyche. Am I right about that?
Well, you're right. And it's not just color. There's a lot of things, being exposed to the gentle breezes. Our bodies are more than our eyes and our mouth and our nose and our ears. Also, your skin, your entire skin is tactile. I mean, you can feel changes when you move from the sun to the shade, when a breeze picks up. Little things like that stimulate your body and makes you feel like you're out and alive. But there's a lot of psychology, Chico, to color. Matter of fact, there's a whole bunch of several websites about the psychology of color. And I'll give you one big example. One of the reasons why people are fascinated with bottle trees, believe it or not, bottle trees, for the same reason why they started using a lot of stained glass in medieval churches, because colors affect people's moods. There were laws limiting the amount of blue that was put in stained glass windows because it made people moody. So, and it's, I mean, I'm not making this up. This is I did a book on glass in the garden, but different colored glass, actually, different colors do affect people's moods. No question. Red makes you angry. Cool as blue and calm as green, that kind of thing. You're onto something, and you're onto something without even having too much sugar in your sweet tea.
I just got me a big one, so I've got it going. Listen, we hate you're not going to be at the picnic, but we'll see you next year, okay? And thank you for that information about colors.
Well, sometime in the middle of the evening, because you got to remember, it's 8:30, 9:30 in the morning to you, 3:30 in the afternoon. So just about when you get cranked up at your picnic, I will toast a cup of MPB, MPB with maybe a locally brewed ale in it to your honor. Y'all have fun.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. And tell you the truth, I'm kind of cranked up right now, but I appreciate it, Felder.
Okay, see you, guy.
Chico, our North Mississippi correspondent.
Did you know about this Did you know about this picnic?
Oh, yeah. Chico's been talking about it all week.
Okay. All righty.
Now let's go to, we got a couple more callers, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right, let's go to Mike. And I think Mike needs two hands on the wheel because Mike is on the road.
Hey, Mike, where are you?
Byram, neighborhood of Byram, heading northbound.
Okay,
Hey.
Hands on the wheels. When you get to Jacktown, you're going to need both hands on the wheel when you get through the stack.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Anyway, I was in my backyard. I found a green fruit about the size of a medium apple, and it's not an apple. A friend of mine said it's a quince.
It could be. Could be.
Yeah, I mean,
quince. Quince and apples and pears are all closely related. To me, a quince looks more like a like a knobby pear than an apple, but they're about the size of my fist or so. But you would probably know if you got a quince tree. Quince trees look sort of like, the trunks are upright and kind of modeled, almost like a crepe myrtle trunk. But quince is it's a, I was raised with quince trees, but it seemed like you'd know if you had a quince in your back, unless some kids had been throwing them at the cat or something.
No, I'm out in the country, and this thing's behind my barn. It's tall and narrow, and I didn't know what it was. I just noticed some fruit on the ground. And I said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, if it's tall and narrow, it got multiple trunks. 2 or 3 different trunks.
Well, there's a big one, and then there's another one coming up beside it. I'm not sure. It resembles it, so I'm thinking it's a younger one.
It could be. Like I said, I was raised with them. And quince is shaped more like a knobby pear than an apple, but they're really close related. Bite into one. If you can't hardly stomach it, that's going to be a quince. There are ways to use them, but they really don't have a lot of natural sugars. And we used to make quince preserves, sort of like watermelon rind preserves with them, because they're really, really good preserves. But anyway, look up quince. If you look up quince, there's a shrub, a flowering shrub called flowering quince. But look up quince tree. I think the Latin name starts with CHAN or something like that. But anyway, quince tree, and look at the fruit. I bet that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, this doesn't have any flowers, but it is a very pretty tree. The leaves are nice looking. I mean, it's nice and decorative, and it's tall and narrow. But
are there several of these
on it was?
Are there several of these on the ground beneath it?
Oh, yeah, maybe a few, not many.
Yeah. Well, it probably came off that tree then. It could very well be a quince, and they would have flowered back in the late winter, early spring when pears bloom. It could be a pear. We have these wild pears. A lot of times they have real small little marble size, but some of them can have pretty decent sized fruit. Could be an old pear, an old cooking type pear. That are really hard and not the kind you eat fresh. But it's going to be probably either an old pear variety or it could be a quince. But they would have flowered back in the spring.
Yeah, I looked it up on Google, and those quince don't look like mine. Mine is almost a perfect round shape and green. So
if it ain't apple, if there's any way you could send a picture of it and some of the leaves, I might be able to identify, because I'm curious too. I'm not just one of these, whatever. I'm curious about what it might be. So if you could get a picture of some of the leaves and one of those fruits, let's find out what it is.
Yep, will do. I appreciate you.
Okay, stay cool and hydrated. So Java, it's a weird world, man.
Yeah, we got one more caller before we take our cheesy tune break, because we're rocking and rolling. Let's go up to Oxford and talk with Mark.
Hey, Mark. Good morning, sir. What's up?
Good morning, Felder. My roses, I don't know if it's something because of the rain or the heat, but I got a real pretty red rose, and the blooms will open and they'll look great, and then it looks like you took a blowtorch and just kind of melted the edges of it.
Yeah.
Is that water or heat, or what is that?
It could be heat. A lot of roses we plant, people don't realize that roses and daffodils, popular as they are, there's some that grow better up north that don't do well in the south, and some that do well in the south won't do in the north. A lot of different roses, a lot of different daffodils. They're not all equal growers. But try this. Take a piece of, an envelope or a piece of white paper out there and hold it under one of those that's just starting to show those symptoms, and thump the rose really, really hard on a piece of paper. And I bet you can see these tiny little things. When I say tiny, they're cigar shaped, and 2 will easily fit on a little typewritten letter I. They're little tiny things. They can be dark, they can be brown, but they're small and they move real quick. I bet you're going to find those. Those are an insect called thrip. Starts with a TH. Thrips get down the
gardenias.
What's that? What's that?
Is that the stuff? That's the stuff that's on gardenias.
Oh yeah, same thing, and magnolias too. And they get inside the tight buds. They go down in the petals, because they're little skinny things, and they gnaw on the petals as they open, and that causes the sap to anyway, causes them to turn brown. That's what causes gardenia flowers to turn brown real quick. And they're real bad on roses, especially this time of year.
Okay. All right. Is there anything I need
It's
to
hard
do?
to control. It's hard to control it, man. You'd have to use one of those systemic insecticides. You put it down around roots that poisons the whole plant, whatever bites it. But that's the only control for thrips, because you can't get a spray or dust to where they are. But I bet that's what it is.
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay, man. Appreciate your call. Java?
We've been kind of all over the place this morning, Felder.
We are. That's okay, because I mean, a lot of people in Mississippi got questions and problems and challenges right now. It's summertime. Before we go, as we go into our break, with a cheesy tune, which, by the way, I chose a cheesy tune today because it's. I had a good quote here. Where's my little quote? Come on, fella, find your quote. Here we go. It's on confirmation bias. When tradition is used to establish truth, it only requires a majority to change what the tradition is. A lot of people think that gardening is a certain way because that's what we were raised thinking it is. This ain't Captain Kangaroo out there, folks. It is an acid test for tomatoes and lawns and people. So gardening in the South is not that easy in the summertime. Just relax, put on a hat, do stuff in the morning. Don't go overboard. But as we go into this break, the cheesy tune I went is a tune about the difference, the sense of the absurd. Can't do this, can't do that, versus you can do anything if you just set your mind to it. It's Roger Miller's absurd tune called "You Can't Roller Skate in a Buffalo Herd," but you can do anything if you want to, or if you set your mind to. Whatever, Java. And let's go on a break. I gotta get me some coffee.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
The nation's longest running traveling celebration of traditional arts, the National Folk Festival, comes to downtown Jackson for the first time, November 7th through the 9th. A fun-filled weekend for the entire family, exploring roots, richness, and variety of American culture. Non-stop music and dance, folk life demonstrations, hands-on children's activities, signature Southern foods, crafts, and more showcasing the best of America, the best of Mississippi, all free. We'll see you in November. More at nationalfolkfestival.com.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Jarva were just chatting about stuff. And next week being the 4th of July holiday, we're probably not going to do a live view thing because, you know, I guess as an American, I probably ought to lay low in England on the 4th of July.
That's always, is that a big,
No,
it's not the same. Oh man, I haven't. Yeah.
Listen, the British. I live in Lancashire. We're right next to Yorkshire. They still argue over the 100-year the Civil War, their Civil War, which is 400 years ago. They're still arguing over that kind of stuff. We were just another of the colonies that rebelled. But
man, that's
anyway,
I never thought about 4th of July outside of the U.S.
Yeah, no, it ain't. It's the same thing with Thanksgiving. Just not a big deal over here. But Brits celebrate stuff we don't, for the 5th of November when they don't want to get in all that. I do have a picture though. I want to put up, and if we can get our live stream guys to put this up, picture number 5. A couple of weeks ago, hard to believe, but just 2 weeks ago, I was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, just south of the Grand Tetons. And I noticed a hanging basket that made me think about what's going on next week, the 4th of July. This is a hanging basket that's red, white, and blue flowers. And I just wanted to throw out, if you wanted to do a celebratory, just make some kind of a holiday thing with plants. This particular picture has got pansies. I mean, not pansies. It's got petunias, almost blue, kind of purple blue petunias, and white petunias and red petunias. It's also got some verbena, but we have quite a few plants that are red, quite a few that are blue and white. Salvias come to mind. You have all different kind of red salvias, white salvias. Petunias are still out there, but you can put together a nice little display, even if you just put it out by your mailbox just for the week. Get an old red wagon and fill it with some compost. Just make a little portable display. But if you can't find the red or the blue that you like, you can always accessorize it with flags and ribbons and things like that. So I'd like to see, I wonder if anybody is up for putting together a red, white, and clear bottle tree.
A red, whoa, red, okay.
Red, blue, and white. Of course, that might look like Ole Miss. I don't know.
That is giving Ole Miss vibes.
But anyway, it's really easy to come up with a holiday themes thing. You don't have to have all the flowers the right color. If you put an accessory, that's the color that you need. So anyway, it'd be kind of fun to see if people would do this in containers, maybe out by the mailbox, and send us pictures of it. We can show in a couple of weeks. But any kind of red, white, and blue holiday thing set out for next week, especially if it's accessorized, I think that'd be real fun. I just want to throw that out, Java.
No, that's cool. And let's throw out a few more phone calls that we got just came in. I think this is Andy in Walthall County. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Walthall
Andy.
County. Well, Walthall County, that's where all the Rushings, that's where the Rushings settled a couple hundred years ago.
I don't know. Now, this is Walthall, the county seat of Webster County, right north of Eupora, little community.
Oh, okay. That's not Walthall County, though. It's Walthall, Mississippi, right?
Walthall, Mississippi, in Webster County.
Gotcha. I know where. I gave a talk at the farmers market there in Eupora about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So what you got going on?
I'm able to make just a couple of quick questions, Felder. One, is it too late or is now a good time to plant fall tomatoes?
It might be a little bit early. It's a good time to start from seed. I was talking, emailing with my friend Gary Bachman, who's retired extension horticulturist. He's just starting his seeds right now. Probably the ideal time, as long as you get tomato plants in the ground by the first week or so in August, in north central Mississippi, you get a good crop before then. If you set them out right now, they're going to need a little watering without rotting them. Don't make them too wet. You can actually plant tomatoes a little bit deeper and let them grow roots. But main thing is if you plant them now, try not to overwater them. Try to get them through the next month or so, and they'll really perk up in August. So, to me, the best time to set out fall tomatoes and peppers in the middle to the last part of July.
Okay, great. Second question right quick, please. I've got about a 2.5 acre, 3 acre pond in front of my house out here in the country, and I try to keep it clean and everything. I'm having on the shallow end some type of aquatic plants on top of the water. It's just because it's so shallow. Anything you'd recommend that I spray to kill it that wouldn't harm the fish
I just wanted.
Yeah,
I just don't.
there are a handful of really good herbicides. And keep in mind, I'm not a pond specialist. I work with Extension Service, and they have pond specialists who know this stuff. They even have publications. You can even go to msucares.com and type in pond weed control, and it'll have pictures of a lot of those weeds. You can tell whether it's alligator weed or whatever it is. I helped my son. He got a lake behind his house, and he had a lot of alligator weed, which is really, really hard to control. It's got a slick leaf. And I talked to my friend Bill Maley, who's a retired extension person, and he mixed me up some kind of concoction. It's legal, but he mixed me some up, and I sprayed it. It worked really well. It controls the weeds without without damaging the ecosystem. There's also is a spray that they use a lot, and I'm not saying Roundup, because Roundup is not what I'm saying, but the active ingredient in Roundup is called glyphosate, and you can get products that have glyphosate without the surfactant. That's the spreader, sticker, soapy stuff. That's what causes problems around aquatic stuff. It's not the glyphosate, it's the soapy surfactant they put in with it. So if you go to any farm co-op, anywhere farmer shop, they'll know what the farmers use. You call the Soil Conservation Service. They work with farm ponds, or the Extension Service. They'll say, here's the most effective. The first thing we do is identify what the weed is. And also keep in mind that some weeds are not easy to control once you get big and mature. They're easier back in the spring. So what we do with my son, we waited until the following spring when it greened up. It was really small. It was really, really easy to control then without using much of herbicide. So right product and right timing are going to be important. But you got some good resources there in Webster County.
Okay, and the website was MSU Care that you mentioned earlier. To identify the weed.
It's MSU Care, Mississippi State University. It stands for Coordinated Access to Research and MSUcares.com. And just in the search box, put pond weed control, and they'll have pictures of the different kind of weeds. I bet that'll help a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. Enjoy your show.
Yeah, and don't forget, you're in a farming community. You go to the local co-op where farmers shop, they're going to know.
Okay, I'll do it. Thank you again.
Okay, stay cool and hydrated.
Yes.
Java, we are all over the place today, aren't we?
Yeah, because now we're about to go talk with Candy, and I think Candy is, where you calling from, Candy?
Decatur.
Where was that?
East Central Community College.
Oh, okay,
right
East Central Community. Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke here at our chamber banquet, and they loved you. Felder, my pecan tree has the plant app calls it honey locust, but it's like big black pimply things, and they're big, and they're all over, not just under the leaves, even attached to the twigs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're about the size of a marble, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a tiny insect. It's very similar to an aphid. It's got a terrible name. It's called phylloxera. It's got 2 L's and an X in it, but phylloxera, it overwinters on pecan trees. And by the way, I was raised in a pecan grove. I'm real familiar with this. The most common insect pest we have. It overwinters as an egg, and the eggs hatch just about the same time pecans sprout out in the spring, which is usually the first week or so in April in central Mississippi. And these little insects crawl onto the new buds, the new leaves, the new twigs, and they lay an egg in it, and this hollow gall grows around it. It's called a phylloxera gall. If you cut into them, some of them may be open already, but if you cut in one that's still whole, you'll find lots of tiny little aphid-looking insects in there. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do this time of year. The only control for phylloxera is to spray the trees, which is nearly impossible, in the first week or so in April, just as the trees are starting to bud out, when they show a little green growth, and then when they start to leaf out, that's when you can control phylloxera. Once they get into the tree, once those galls form, not much we can do. These are real common. So you're in good company, but unfortunately, not much you can do.
How do you spell it?
Phyllloxera. How about that, Java? Java, I can do stuff like that, man. I can't tell time of day, but I can spell phylloxera.
What do you spray on the tree? What do I spray on the tree first week in April?
Well, commercial growers spray 2 sometimes 3 times. Always, they check the trees when they're first starting to show a little green. Before they leaf out, you see a little green growth coming out. That's when they start spraying. Then they spray a few days later, sometimes another spray. Almost anything will control them. Liquid 7 will do it. Malathion will do it. Even anything that will control aphids will control phylloxera because it's related to aphids. But it's hard to spray a whole tree. It's just really, really hard. That time of year, it's just tough. I mean, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people can't grow pecans because there's not a good homeowner control for phylloxera.
And this tree, our property used to be a pecan grove, and this tree is at least 2 stories high and probably 80 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, we have pecan trees in my family home up in the Delta that was planted by my great-grandfather. And every year they're just eaten up with phylloxera and not much we can do because you can't spray that much. So it's one of those tough things. And if you put a pencil to it, you could probably buy pecans cheaper than you can grow them. Seriously.
Yeah, well, we don't really, the squirrels eat them before they fall,
right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We've got lots
of
squirrels.
If you're not so worried about the pecans, phylloxera will not kill a pecan tree. It just boogers them up. The leaves fall off the tree.
That was my concern.
Not going to kill your tree. Not going to kill your tree.
I was afraid it was going to kill the tree. Well, thank you so much. Decatur, we love you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to MPB. Thank you.
Felder, you are a man about town. You have been in every nook and cranny of Mississippi. Let me ask this question, and the answer is probably yes. Do you think you've spoken in all 82 counties of Mississippi?
I have. As a matter of fact, the last county for me to speak to, well, and keep in mind that Issaquena doesn't have a meeting place. Issaquena shares a meeting place at the library in Rolling Fork, Sharkey, Issaquena. So I haven't talked. I've been to Issaquena County, but I haven't talked there. But I gave a talk. I think it was up in Fulton. It was up in North Mississippi. It was the last county for me to give a talk, and they made a T-shirt for it.
No.
Yeah, no, I've been. I was with Extension Service for almost a quarter of a century, and since then, because of the Mississippi Gardening Facebook, I'm invited to a lot of communities because I don't sell anything. I talk. Here's the way I would do it. Here's how I get my mother to do it. Which is a breath of fresh air for people who are just trying to be experts all the time. I'm not an expert. I can spell phylloxera, and I know all about it, but I don't know why your tomatoes are falling off. Just because they fall off mine.
Now we got one more phone call before we end the show. And I think this is TC in Summit.
Okay, now we're talking South Mississippi. What's going on, TC?
All right. Good morning, fella. Good morning, John. I'm trying to make this real quick. I know we're about to run out of time. But I also sent Java an email. If he could link that email to you with some pictures that I sent in case we run out of time. But I started my cucumbers in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket for the first time this year. And I watched a YouTube video on how to grow some really big cucumbers, and they showed drill some holes in the container, put it in the center of the soil, and put compost in it. Well, I did that, and weeks went by, and I would move my bucket, and I would see maggots underneath the bucket. Well, my cucumber plant was dehydrating, so I decided to open the top of the container, and the holes that I drilled inside the containers had little maggots in it, but then big old giant black sluggish-looking bugs that couldn't get out because they got too big, and you think it could have been some type of bacteria that I put in the compost. And also I made a mistake of putting my pruned tomato leaves in as compost, and I was told that was probably a mistake also. If Java could send an email and then pictures, and you can send me an email back, because nobody knows what kind of, you could tell the baby ones are maggots, but the big ones, I don't know if they're steroid, overgrown maggots. But
Yeah, well, I do need to see the pictures, but compost has got a lot of stuff in it, and it attracts all sorts of beneficial things. Good for compost, but kind of yucky for us. So without seeing, I couldn't begin to guess. But it wouldn't have been because of the compost. They may have been attracted to it, but a lot of those are actually beneficial. Great big old crane flies, those big mosquito hawk looking things. Their larvae are called leather jackets, and they're the size of my finger. They look terrible, but they're terrific in the compost. So I just don't know. So let me wait till Java sends me the email and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, TC, I will send that to Felder and see if we can get you some help and some repellent for those steroidy maggots.
There we go. By the way, Java, let me squeeze this in real quick. Last week after I got on the program, I went to Solstice Observant in Blackburn, Lancashire. Solstice is a big deal in England. There were folks from all over the world there. England, China, India, Cameroon, Dominican Republic, Pakistan, bringing ethnic food. And I brought a big pan of homemade Mexican cornbread. I smoked it in from Mississippi.
No, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
No, I had flakes of Mississippi grown hot pepper. Anyway, mine was my ethnic food was the most celebrated, making me a mini generation Mississippian, the most foreign person there. How ironic is that?
Felder, you do it every place you go, man.
Anyway, a little taste of Mississippi in Old Blighty, as they call it. I've had a good time today. I hope you have a good weekend. Next weekend we're gonna be off, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so folks, if you want to tune in anytime, go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener MPB, and you'll be able to see all of this and then some. And also, if you manage to put together a holiday themed flower pot, send us a picture of it. I'd love to see that. So meanwhile, me and Java, all the other folks at MPB, we're just going to take a week off, I guess, for the holiday. Folks, if you get a chance, go to a farmer's market or garden center, do something fun in the garden and show other people how we do what we do best, and that's get dirty.